Well, happy Wednesday, Parkway. It's great to be back on here with you. And I'm not sure who all is tuning in, but I want to ask you a question, or a favor, I guess is better. Let me know where you're watching from. I would love to hear, and maybe even what day of the week you're watching from. That would be interesting too. But I've got a question for you as we get into this week's devotion. Are you ready to do the work? Now, I know some of you are going, wait a minute, what kind of work are you talking about? If we're digging ditches, probably not, but I'm talking about something even greater than that. I'm talking about the kingdom's work. In Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, it says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." Listen, every day God places people in our paths who need hope. There are people who need encouragement and the life-changing message of Jesus Christ. As believers, we have the privilege and yes, even the responsibility of being His hands and His feet in our homes, in the workplace, in our schools, in the neighborhoods that we live in the community and marketplace and all those places. And part of doing the work that God has called us to do is remaining faithful ourselves. Faithful in worship, right? Being in attendance to worship services, faithful in serving within the church and outside of the church, faithful in prayer and in Bible study. Let's say faithful in encouraging one another as well. When God's people are actively engaged in the life of church, we become a very powerful witness to a watching world. One of the most effective ways that we can reach others is simply by sharing our story. You don't need a seminary degree, or you don't have to have all the answers. You can tell people and tell them this, what your life was like before you trusted Jesus and how you came to know Jesus as your Savior, and then maybe how your life has changed since then. You know, I think a great question for us too, to add to that is how He gives us peace during our difficult times, or maybe why our faith and church, family are important to us. You see, these conversations can happen very naturally within normal conversations every day. You can share your story with a coworker at lunch, or a neighbor while you're out in the yard working, or a friend going through a difficult season, or just someone you meet while running errands. Sometimes all it takes is saying, "Can I tell you what Jesus has done in my life?" People may argue with your opinions, but they cannot argue with your genuine story of God's grace at work in your life. So as you go through this week, look for opportunities to serve and invite someone to come to church with you, or encourage a hurting person and share your testimony, share your story. God can use your story to point someone toward the hope that's found only in Jesus Christ. So today, I'm going to have you ask yourself a few questions. Am I ready to do the work? Am I ready to be about the kingdom's business? Listen, let's be faithful in attendance, faithful in serving, faithful in reaching our community with the love and the hope that only comes from Jesus Christ. You guys have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you back at church this Sunday.